Okay, so the new year, right? So there's a lot of debate about the new year actually being um December, the winter solstice, or the spring equinox in March, right? So here we have Gudea, the ruler of Lagash in southern Mesopotamia, right? We see where he ruled, 2080 BC and so on, right? So down here it says in his inscriptions, right, concerning the New Year festival, a reform in the calendar of Lagash may be inferred, by which the beginning of the new year was transferred from the stars of Aries to those of Aquarius. So now we know that Aquarius is actually a winter constellation and Aries is a spring constellation. So you have to ask, why did he actually change the calendar and moved it back, right? So I'm gonna show you exactly why. So here, for example, is from the book on mankind and their origins and destiny. So in that book here in this paragraph, we see, for example, it says the winter solstice was long in the water of Aquarius, which extends as far as the southern fish, in which the year began and ended. This was the origin of the myths respecting the destruction of the world by water, aka the Great Flood, which is pretty much, written in the stars and stuff like that. So when Aquarius was in the winter solstice, that was about like 4,000 BC, so that'd be like 6,000 years ago. So we know that Aquarius is one of the four royal constellations because of the royal stars that it actually has. So the royal star of Aquarius is actually the southern fish. So those royal stars used to mark the equinoxes and the solstices. So that would put Aquarius in the south. So he'll be deep in the south. So we know by the precision of the equinoxes, the constellations move out of alignment. It's like, for example, like right now, the winter solstice would be in Sagittarius, for example. Here is a Chinese calendar, and you see in February it says spring begins in Aquarius. Now this is spring. This is not March, and this is not December, for the simple fact that we know that the precision of the equinox is moved, right? So now this is actually a moon calendar, right? Even though it says 24 solar terms, but we know, for example, like when the moon, like the new moon, when it shows up, uh, say like beginning of next year, which is a day from now, whatever, right? So the first new moon, more than likely, most of the times would appear in Aquarius. So this is really supposed to be a new moon calendar right here, right? But as you can see, it says spring begins. You know what I'm saying? So this will also be the new year for the Chinese, for example. Here we have again at the top, it says like centuries later, when the color of the winter solstice had passed into the constellation Aquarius again, right? Some astronomers desired, like Gudea of Lagash and Tushin Hio in China, to honor that season and to make it the beginning of the year. You see what I'm saying? So, what else we have down here? Well, this is another topic. So here we have again, for example, where it says this festival is held in February. Remember, we was talking about like the new moon, for example. Um, Soon after the opening of the new year, right? The sign Aquarius is accordingly termed in the Chinese language the resurrection of the spring. So again, uh, Aquarius again was originally stationed at the winter solstice. I explained that so long ago as far as the royal star is concerned. So that actually marks, like, the beginning of the new year and so on. So being that constellation itself, right, even though, like I said, it moves, so now Aquarius is actually when January, February, when the sun enters, those months, we know that Aquarius is there, for example. So it really hasn't changed. So pretty much Aquarius is actually signifying the new year. So here we have again, it says, the Lord, the sun, having learned that Pharaoh, winter sun, would arrive at the river's bank, winter solstice, in the morning of the new year, directed Moses Aquarius to meet him there, sun in Aquarius, and demand of him, saying, let my people go. So once again, this is telling you that the winter solstice is pretty much where Moses Aquarius is basically stationed at, and the sun, the winter sun, as being Pharaoh, right, met Moses there and met Pharaoh. So here we have again conjunction with Aquarius at the time of the winter solstice, have described the fire of the societal sun as hiding in, being born in, and rising out of the celestial waters of the constellation Aquarius. So it's telling you again, like, that the sun was actually born in the winter solstice, right? It died and it was reborn pretty much during the winter solstice. That's what it's basically telling you. You know what I'm saying? So again, people got to keep in mind that we living in, say, America, for example, right? Our seasons are not like the seasons on the other side of the earth. So when all these calendars and stuff was being created, and when they was aligning them with the constellations, it had nothing to do with America. You know what I'm saying? So we gotta just keep that in mind, you know. So here we also have Mithra. It also says Aquarius. It starts with Aquarius. It goes all the way around, coinciding with Peter, with the sun entering Aquarius in January. We've all seen this picture before. Janus, January. As you can see, Aquarius, Capricorn, beginning and the end. Again, Janus, you see Aquarius above, zodiac belt. We also know that the Hebrew month of Shivat begins January, start of Aquarius, January, February. As you can see, literally New Year of the trees. So like I said, on that side of the earth, a lot of the trees begin and buds start to grow, within that time period. Because again, their climate is not the same as ours over here in America. So to end it, we can end it off with this. This is a zodiac that was in the temple of Dendera on the ceiling. And as you can see, you have the goddess holding what appears to be a child. But this is actually the making of man, right? So you see the constellation of Virgo above the woman with the child or the human. So usually the picture above in the right corner on the top will be Virgin Mary with baby Jesus. But we have a problem. So we know in the Jewish New Year, it actually begins around, I believe, like September. So within that season is Libra and Virgo. So as I just showed you, the constellation, right? Right underneath Virgo, there's a woman holding a child or a baby. I mean, a new creation, sorry. Now here in the Sumerian constellations, here you see Nimma, right? Holding what appears to be a child, right? In the same position as the Egyptian. And you see Virgo above, and so on, right? Now over here we have the creation of man, and we see the same baby sitting on Nimma's lap down here. You see? So in all actuality, it really supposed to be the creation of man. You see what I'm saying? But now it appears to be baby Jesus. But that wasn't always the case. You see what I'm saying? So in all actuality, in all actuality, the real birth mother is Nimma, not Virgo, the virgin. Because Virgo is actually supposed to be a servant. It's not the birth mother, and definitely not the birth mother of creation. It's Nimma. We know that from the Sumerian scriptures and stuff like that. So here again, we also have the Egyptian constellations, Nimma. Here we have Ninhursag, who's also Nimma. It's the same individual, different naming. Creation of man. Baby sitting on the lap. You know what I'm saying? No baby Jesus. So this post was for a different subject, talking about the land of moon creation. So to end it off right here, as you can see, this is Aquarius right here, and above his head it says a man carried up to heaven. So we all know what happened to Jesus, right? He was lifted up, and Jesus was also synonymous with the sun. And going around the 12 constellations, there was a story for each. But of course, again, when it comes down to the Aquarius, because he's actually the only man within the 12 signs. You see what I'm saying? And remember I told you that he was stationed at the winter solstice, 4000 BC. And, he was killed. He was raised up again, died, reborn, and everything I just showed you and explained, that happens to be the case. So that right there, could answer a lot of questions. So the calendar wasn't just say recently changed by the Romans and all that stuff like that, the Catholics and whatever. As I showed you, from around 2000 BC, from Gudea, from all the way from Mesopotamia, when he had changed the new year from Aries into Aquarius. Now, why did he do that? It's because maybe he wanted to fix the calendar to, its original, state. So that was 2000 BC, and we know that Aquarius was in the winter solstice 4000 BC, 6,000 years ago. So there you have it. December, Aquarius, New Year. And that's that.